This is how I would build Assassin's Kai Jorgen Faceless team. Now, there's a lot of variations of it. Kai Jorgen Faceless is the main thing. I like Astaroth, and Astaroth works just fine in this lineup. Martha, I think, is the better choice for healer because it doesn't take away as much from resources as, say, Celeste would.
It's only a game. Why you have to be mad?
I want to talk about my absolute favorites. My absolute favorite Kai team. He's not around anymore, but this is brought to you by Assassin. And I don't know if you guys remember Assassin. He had a really unfortunate situation with his phone that support just was not able to help him with. So this team right here is one of the teams that I'm building on my main account. Okay, we have Astaroth, Kai, Jorgen, Faceless, and Martha. Say what you will about your choices for your tank and your healer. The main core of this team is Kai, Jorgen, Faceless. Now, this is an expensive team. You have 2 strength heroes, Astaroth. Tanks are always expensive, of course. Jorgen, and then you have 3 intelligence heroes. So you don't have any agility hero to speak of here, which is fine. You could work on team 2 for your agility team or, whatever, but expensive team. Now, the way that this team works is a good amount of boosted magic damage from the magic attack artifacts from Kai and Jorgen. Of course, magic penetration from Faceless, and just general magic damage across the board. Obviously, this team has its weaknesses, and it didn't used to be amazing, it used to be amazing, and it's kind of fallen off in favor a little bit. But this is the team that I'm kind of building one of my lineups on Hero Wars Mobile, on my main account. All of these heroes are relatively easy to get, with the exception of Martha. Right? So you can absolutely use Thea in place of Martha until you get Martha. Some people could consider using Marcus, but some would even potentially consider not using a tank if you're using Marcus. Depending on the lineups, you could get away with this, right? But the way that I'm building it, because I was fortunate enough to be able to have access to, Martha Soulstones, is this right here. Everybody knows my love for Astaroth. I think that this has got enough damage potential that Astaroth is the play, despite his defensive nature. Astaroth you get from the story, the introductory story. Kai, of course, you get from the Tower Shop. You get Kai. Yeah. The hero Jorgen you get from the Outland Shop. I don't really want to go into the Outland Shop problems, but he is relatively easy to get if you're focusing on him, even though you shouldn't be. And then Faceless you can get from the Highwayman Shop. So this combination of heroes works extremely well. Offensive team especially, you can change things up a little bit on defense depending on how you're going to go about it. So the way that I would level up this team is focusing on 1 strength skin for my strength lineup. And I'm very fortunate that the second strength hero, being Jorgen, doesn't actually need a ton of investment. You really just need to get Jorgen's skills and level to max, and you don't really need to worry about his skins immediately. You can worry about his skins later on. Maybe work on his strength skin a little bit to get it so that he's not being, crit to death by certain heroes. But I like to level up Astaroth's armor skin first. After I've got Astaroth to a point that he's able to survive a good amount of hits, then I'll put some strength skin stones into the hero Jorgen, his strength skin, to get his health up, like I said, and to lessen the chance of him getting critical hit. Okay. Now, as far as intelligence skins are concerned, because I'd already heavily invested into Faceless, you could go that route, but because both of the heroes are pretty necessary, it's kind of a difficult thing to dig into. But the one that I would probably recommend if I was starting over, here we go, Kai. I don't know why my game is running so slow and laggy. So I would definitely work on the Magic Penetration Solar Skin first. Magic Penetration Solar Skin first, right? He doesn't have the artifact weapon for Magic Penetration. His artifact weapon is Magic Attack, which we'll talk about artifacts in just a second. I would focus on Kai's Solar Skin first. Get him to the point that he's able to do enough damage to actually, see what's going on. And you could then continue to work on him, putting into his Magic Attack or his Intelligence skin, his default skin. but you will need to, if not immediately, kind of sharing skin stones over. The next thing that you need to focus on as far as your intelligence will be into Faceless's health skin. All right. His magic attack is nice, but you don't really use him for his magic attack abilities. Use him for his area of effect stun. Use him for his copy ability and his magic defense. Right? The chain lightning damage is okay, but you don't really need to do much with his magic attack. I just need Faceless to be alive. Okay. So his health skin, his masquerade skin would be who I would target with intelligent skin stones after I got that Kai magic penetration skin really up there. And the thing about Martha doesn't need much investment in order for her to become extremely tanky. She's just got naturally high health and armor, but you can definitely focus on her health as well. If you happen to get the masquerade skin, of course, that's the most important. Her magic attack and magic defense are almost not necessary, and her intelligence is super important, but it is not as important as you might think it is. Skins for Martha aren't really the play. Not really the play. One of the things that you need to pay attention to with this lineup, something that I found that I would really need to pay attention to, is making sure that her glyph, her armor glyph is low. Making sure that her armor glyph is low. And the reason for that, of course, is Yasmin attacks the hero with the lowest armor. I want Yasmin to target my Martha. So you want to keep her armor lower than everybody else's if you can. It's going to be a difficult task with this team, but as you continue to level up, as you continue to build, Kai is going to be your biggest problem. Keeping your armor below Kai for Martha is going to be your biggest problem. Maybe Faceless too. It seems like I was just focusing on Kai. Jorgen, I know, has an armor glyph though, right? I'm pretty sure he does. Yeah, so you're just going to need to make sure somehow to keep her armor below. If you're trying to specifically counter Yasmin's, I guess. Is that she becomes weak to big hit heroes like Kark though, right? Well, it really depends, because Kark attacks the heroes with the lowest health, D-Warman. So Martha's got higher health than potentially than Kai and Faceless. She definitely won't have higher health than Jorgen. So I guess with that lineup, she would be one of the lowest 3 health heroes, wouldn't she? There's actually really no way to get around it. Because she's definitely not going to have lower health than the tank, and she's definitely not going to have lower health than Jorgen. All right, so don't fight Kark lineups with this team for sure. Any reason why Kai over Satori? Chronic, there's a Kai event active right now, and this is my favorite Kai team. That's why. That's the simple reason, Chronic. When it comes to artifacts, I'm going to go ahead and say this again. This is going to sound like a broken record. We say this every time. Get every hero's artifact weapon to 3 stars. A 3-star artifact weapon is a 100% chance that the team buff will activate. So all of the artifact weapon fragments are unique to the hero. So just evolve the hero's weapons, evolve the star level of hero's weapons as you get the fragments, right? I like to level up my tank's artifact weapon with the elixirs first, right? So all my gray elixirs go into Astaroth. And then all my green elixirs go into Astaroth, and then I put my gray elixirs into my main damage dealer. So gray elixirs and then green elixirs into Astaroth, and then all gray elixirs from then on go into Kai. And then, of course, once my Scythe of Redemption here gets to any blue artifacts elixirs, then I put all the blue ones into him, continue leveling up my Kai through the gray artifacts into the green. And then as I run into the violet artifacts, then I can put all of the blue artifact essences on my Kai. And that's kind of how I stagger those. Now, when it comes to everybody else, as far as the other, where should I spend my stuff? Since Kai is kind of the main damage dealer, even though Jorgen will often outdamage Kai with this lineup, by the way, a nicely juiced Jorgen will definitely outdamage your Kai. It is a lower priority because it takes so much investment. Why did I back out of there? The hero Jorgen, you really don't need to focus on his artifact book or ring that much. I would actually wait till his artifact and his book and ring until way late, if not last. Martha and Jorgen work on their book and ring potentially last. Well, I would say Jorgen last for sure. Obviously, a team magic attack buff is one of the reasons why Jorgen is there. So, you know, working on this, getting this evolved, eventually is going to be important. But the main stars of this show is a combination of the three heroes, Jorgen, Faceless, and Kai. Faceless is who I would probably focus on for the artifact weapon second. Let me take a step back here. The book we'll talk about in a second. The book is where I would focus on with Kai. So having his magic penetration, having Faceless's magic penetration high is the point. I'm sorry, his artifact weapon magic penetration buff is the point of the attacks. Jorgen's big hit is going to be even bigger if you have a magic penetration buff on there. Of course, Faceless copying Jorgen or Kai is going to be huge damage to either the front line in the case of Jorgen or to the entire enemy team in the case of Kai. But after I really get my tank's artifact weapon really high, I think the Hermit Shroud is the next one to really focus on. The armor buff from Martha is okay, but it is not super important. And the two magic attack buffs from Kai and Jorgen are also really valuable. But this magic penetration buff is going to be what's going to let your team outdamage some of those mage teams. Now, the magic penetration book for Faceless doesn't matter as much, but this is what I was talking about. After you get your tank's defenses up to a point that he's able to survive, and again, if we're focusing all of our essences in order from Astaroth and then to Faceless and then to the Kai Jorgen, or maybe Kai Martha then Jorgen, then the book you want to focus as well on your tank. You need the armor and magic defense so your tank can stay alive, and then these I would probably go with Kai. So Kai he's got magic penetration and magic attack. So Kai, his skills are what's bringing his use to the team, right? His artifact weapon, obviously, but his area of effect damage needs to be ignoring as much of the enemy's magic defense as possible. You know, Faceless's magic penetration is important, and he has a magic penetration book as well, but Faceless has the bonus of having his artifact weapon providing a magic penetration buff, which should be most of what you need, if not all of what you need, to ignore the enemy's magic defense, right? So I like to work on the tank book first until he can stay alive, and then my main skill damage dealer book second with Kai, and then probably Faceless, maybe Martha, but Jorgen probably last for the book. And the same probably strategy works for for the ring as well. Focus on Astaroth, or whoever your tank would be. Focus all of your artifact medals to level up the artifact ring first on Astaroth, and then probably Kai, and then, I don't know, Martha or Faceless after that. Having a high strength provides high armor, as well as high physical attack, as well as, lessens the chance of being critical hit. Kai having more intelligence provides more magic attack. Same with Faceless. Though again, you don't really bring Faceless so much for his skills, aside from just his knockback and stun, and his copy, his duplicate, his doppelganger ability. Obviously, you're going to want to level these heroes up as fast as you can. When it comes to leveling decisions, I like to put everything in my tank first. I like to make sure that my tank is the highest level. My tank's skills are the highest level. And whatever elixirs you have after your tank, not elixirs, XP potions to level up after you're putting them into your tank, and any gold that you have after leveling up your tank's skills, then put them into your main damage dealer, which in this case, like I said, is Kai. Why am I using Astaroth instead of a real tank like Ziri? I think Astaroth works better in this lineup. I prefer Astaroth as a tank. Ziri's a great tank. Griff says Astaroth needs a new health skin and a better ult on mobile. I think his ult needs to be overhauled across the board. It's just way too weak. And I think that day is coming eventually. I think Astaroth will get some kind of modification to his skills sooner or later. This is how I would build this team. If anybody has any questions, leave them on that video and we'll answer them when we can. Yeah.